previously paid. Thank you. Yes.
What's gonna do it in a couple of years when I'm gone?
You'll have it beat into our brains by then.
Never say never.
Let me know.
Okay.
Good. You're live. I'd like to call the Gibsonburg Exempted Village School District Board of Education meeting to order. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Common, roll call.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Here.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Here.
Mr. Mason, here, Mr. Mendoza,
Here.
and Ms. Whitmer is absent.
Item 22-63, it is recommended to approve the agenda as presented by the superintendent for the May 16, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kratzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza.
Like-
Oh,
I'd like
go
to
ahead.
point out,
Yeah.
I passed out to everyone at their spot. There's a list of things bulleted there that we, not really changes, but amended to the agenda. A couple of them we pulled out for separate votes. We got a couple of purchases over 25,000, and then we did add the school calendar because we need to get that out to parents before the end of the school year.
Roll call.
Who did we get a second from?
Caesar.
Mr. Mendoza. Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Item 22-64, it is recommended the Board of Education read, approve, and sign the minutes of the April 18, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Damschroeder,
Second.
second by Mrs. Kratzer. Roll call.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Abstain.
Mr. Damschroeder.
Yes.
Item passes 3-0 with one abstain. Reading of communications. Is anything, John?
Nothing for me.
There's nothing else though. Legislative report. I don't have anything on that. Denny, do you have anything you want to add?
Not this time.
Okay.
There is a House bill out there. I don't remember the number now, but we got a call, Denny and I got a call and had a meeting. 117 had a meeting with Jim Henline. The legislation for allowing a township to transfer territory into another district is back on the table. And it's being deliberated by our legislators now. And Mr. Henline's been in contact with the state representative in this area. Yeah, and he's possibly going to go down and testify in front of the House.
Oh, Mr. Click.
Click.
Here, yeah.
Click, yeah. So that's the update on that.
Okay.
So back and forth issue.
Yeah,
Maybe someday.
well, it was declared unconstitutional because they piled it in with another House bill, which was actually the budget bill or something like that. And they felt it needed to be standalone, so it wasn't really declared unconstitutional because of its merits. It was just more procedurally how it got passed. So the Supreme Court didn't like, so.
So it's just, this is just kind of slow moving or?
It's slow, you know, as everything is.
Okay.
So. But it's not, you know, I guess it's not a dead issue yet.
Any administrative reports? Cisco?
I'm just going to share with you guys some things that are going on in here in May and some things that are coming up. So we have Right to Read Week that's starting on Thursday, going into next week. Because we have lunch with loved ones on Thursday and Friday, so have asked parents and grandparents and friends and family to come in and eat with their students on Thursday and Friday. We'll have the book fair going on at that time at lunchtime too. And we'll also start selling some 50/50 tickets and some basket tickets that will be part of our family night, which will then take place on Saturday from 6 to 8. And for our family night, we're gonna have food trucks, carnival games, a tree ceremony, our raffles, the book fair. We're gonna have touch a truck and a whole bunch of other good things. The health department's gonna come and fit kids with bicycle helmets. So we're pretty excited about that. So that is on Saturday if you would like to come and join us. I also wanted to tell you about, I'm on a committee right now. Actually, I'm on it with Dave's wife, Danielle. We're on the Gibsonburg Pedestrian Infrastructure Meeting. So the health department had some grant money that is going to use to fix some of the sidewalks and the crosswalks here in Gibsonburg. And just so you know, some of the crosswalks that we're looking at improving are the one that's Ludwig and Yeasting. So out here, when the kids come down the old high school lot and they come across there on that corner, we realize that it is not well lit. It's not well, the curbs are big high curbs. So if you're on a bicycle, it's kind of like clunk clunk across there and stuff. So that is one intersection that we're looking at. So they're looking at maybe signs, a special raised crosswalk, might be some lights, whatever it may be to kind of make that corner known better. And the other corner they're looking at improving is over by the high school, the Main and Linden. So where the high schoolers would then cross over to the high school there on that corner. And the same thing, they realize that there needs to be better signs. Maybe there's even speed limit signs. Maybe there's lighting. Maybe there's raised things. They talked about maybe even moving the curb out, because if you have an extended curb, it causes people to slow down. So they want to just start looking at some of those improvements that we can make. And they thought it would be best to work on some intersections near the school so that the kids would also benefit from those improvements. So I just wanted you to know that that is in the works. Field trips are starting to go on right now. We've been very blessed to have those sponsored by HEP again. So kindergarten went on their senior trips with the seniors. First grade is doing Back to the Wild. First grade's Back to the Wild. Second grade is Imagination Station. Third grade is Sodders. Fourth grade is Put in Bay, and then fifth grade is the Mud Hens. So we are doing those again this year. HEP also sponsored an artist that came last week. His name was Dwayne Abel, and he does a comic strips, has a character named Zed. So we hadn't had an assembly like that in actually a couple of years, so we were excited to be able to do that again. And he entertained and left us some pictures and things. Watchdogs is back up and running. We're doing it as a half-a-day program right now, and that has worked out really well. Sometimes it was difficult for us to find something for a full day, and also it's allowed us to get more people in, or even more than one watchdog a day. Like we have 2 coming on Thursday, 2 coming on Friday, so that's gone very well. Also, the school sponsored me as part of the leadership of Sandusky County this year. I got to be a part of that. What an exciting neat thing. So each month you get to visit different places throughout the county. So like last month was agricultural. So we got to go to Sunrise, learn about their system, listen to Roots, talk about agriculture. We got to go out to R&R. We got to press. And then we also went out to the dairy farm, which I just found very fascinating because it's all robotic. They only have 2 people that work there, and everything else is done with robots. It's amazing. But it's been a great thing because you don't realize the resources you have in your own community sometimes. Or we, this last month, we also went to the Hayes house. You know, you have all these things in your backyard and you might go to them once and you forget they're there, but a lot of great resourcing, connected with a lot of neat people. Our project this year for this class was we had to all do 24 hours worth of community service so that we would have 500 for our class. We're graduating this Wednesday at Old Sims. So that's been really neat because I got to work at Share and Care. I got to clean up out at the Sandusky County Park District out at the barn near Lindsay. So I got to do some really neat experiences that I wouldn't have got to be able to be a part of without you guys sponsoring me for that. So thank you, and I'm hoping that we get to send somebody each year because I think it's well worth it. So kindergarten screening happened. We've had around 55 students, so we will go back to having 3 kindergartens, which leads to some changes for next year. Mrs. Owens will be teaching first grade, so that we'll have 4, because we'll have that bubble group now that will need 4 classrooms each year. We have 2 teachers getting married in September, so Ms. Meeker will become Mrs. Witt. Ms. Reinick will become Mrs. Cross. And then we're changing up one of our co-teaching. So Mrs. Graver was co-teaching with Mr. Jackson. She will begin to co-teach with Mrs. Montgomery. And then final, 5th grade had their move-up day. And now they will be doing their walk clap out with the seniors on Friday at 1:30, 1:40-ish. So our seniors will walk the building first, the 5th graders will follow them as we do a clap out. Because I believe that's their last day that the seniors get together. So lots of exciting things going on at Bowfinger.
Just piggyback, if Friday, 11 o'clock, we'll be having the barbecue for the seniors at high school. So if anybody wants to help me, hot dogs, and Sonia, I think you and I are on that detail.
We are.
Hot dogs and burgers. But that starts at 11, I believe, isn't it?
11, yes.
Okay.
We'll be doing some activities before that together out to the ball field area there.
The Complete Streets program, we'll keep that in mind. I want to talk about that next month at the finance meeting.
The what?
The Complete Streets you brought up about the signs.
Yeah, this is a section of the complete streets. So Gibsonburg also is a part of this complete streets that they just passed an ordinance.
Yeah, they got 1 grant and they're looking for some extra money, but it's a neat program. There's definitely a lot of areas in town that need better sidewalks, for sure. Any other administrative reports? Sharon?
I have a couple things, yeah. I shared out all the state testing reports. So obviously just one piece of the puzzle, but that's helpful for, teachers to have access to that and for everybody to be able to have conversations about those. We have quite the list of professional learning items for next year. So just trying to draft out the time that we'll need for that. It's been fun for me to take in all the traditions, being my first year. So it's been very fun for me. And I have also been spending time in one of our kindergarten classrooms, just being supportive, and that is a really huge experience every day. So it's fun.
All right, thank you. Board initiated business, we'll start over here. Mr. Schroeder.
Much other than I forwarded you the updated information on the NFL grants program. We've got a little bit of a time crunch, so we'll see if we can get that completed this year. If not, it's an ongoing process, but $18 million is available. If we can raise 250, we get 250. If we can raise 100, we get 100. So, process is moving on. We're been promised a lot of support. So, if we do decide to move forward with it, we won't be alone. So, other than that, great job, spring sports.
We do fall into the Browns district on that, right? Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The Lions basically do Michigan, so Northern Ohio is Browns territory.
Yeah. Good. I don't really have anything other than congratulations to our spring sports again. Softball still playing. So, yeah, that's it.
I'm just excited about all the year-end things. Emily just mentioned so many things at the elementary and all the things at the high school, the banquets that are coming up, BOAG, all the academic and everything. Concert tonight, just, it's an exciting time in a school district when you get to May. So.
Yeah.
A busy
Busy
time,
time.
absolutely busy, yes.
I'd just like to wish all the sports teams good luck in the tournaments as they come, and wish the seniors good luck as well. Goes fast, so telling the girls, 8th grade girls, I said in 4 years, they'll be here. And they just kind of looked at me, I was crazy, but they will. So, but, so.
So, Dave, one more thing, real quick on Vanguard. Last week, we had the passport ceremonies for Vanguard and Sentinel, 360 graduates. We were very well represented. One of the keynote speeches was given by a Gibsonburg student, so she did a very nice job. We're very proud of that. And given the applications for next year, based on 90% retention of the current students, they will go from 1,004 on-campus students to over 1,500. So several programs are expanding. So what was once an underutilized resource is becoming very well used. So just want to share that.
The Vanguard and Sentinel still do separate ceremonies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Last week.
A friend of mine at work, his son graduated from Sentinel, if you will, and I asked him if they were combined. He's like, oh, I don't know. I said, I couldn't remember either.
The problem with that would be a venue that would hold that.
Right.
But we feel, I mean, we went to Grace Community Church for the first time this year, and the building was full.
Yeah.
And then they have the Sentinel is at the Heminger Center over in the Tiffin University. And we had that set, had 1,500 people in there.
You commented with the increased enrollment, a venue for even just
Yeah.
Vanguard's gonna be,
We're
Next year.
wondering where we're gonna go.
Well, that's good.
Could I just add something real quick with what you had said? I just wanted to mention that our kids went to prom and after prom, to Good Times cruise boat there in Sandusky and the Kalahari afterwards. And, you know, it's been a while since we've been able to do something really fun for the kids. They did an amazing job. We had compliments left and right from staff at both places that they were so well behaved, they were so courteous. I just wanted to throw that out there because it is a little bit of a risk, you know, going on a boat, going to Kalahari and things like that, but they did phenomenal. So I just want to tell you that they did a great job. And then, you know, of course, graduation is June 5th. I just wanted to throw that out there, okay?
thank you, it's good to hear.
Did anybody sign up for citizens input?
You know what, I was remiss in my duties. I did not put a sign up sheet out.
Does anybody have anything?
I would just like to throw in a comment. To speak to your point, prom was awesome. Carter raved about it. He thought it was a really good time and talked my ear off about the kid that he got to spend the day with at the senior trip at the zoo. He said his shoulders hurt because he was carrying the kid half the day. So I think it's an awesome program that you guys do. I hope it continues, but I just wanted to say thank you for that. It's nice to see these kids out and together again and enjoying these kinds of things. So I'm really happy about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, this one I have to read that. All right. Financial agenda, Mr. Conlon.
The treasurer recommends that the board approve the financial consent agenda items 1I1 through I4. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of the consent agenda means that this item is adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the treasurer requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted separately. First, we have the monthly financial report. We ended April, actually year-to-date revenue is showing down 1.5%. This, again, we've seen this all year long due to some large advances that were returned to the general fund last year. $671,000 came back. The new state funding impacts the revenue this year because it includes open enrollment and student wellness and success funds. Income tax, this is a good shot in the arm. Income tax is the good news is it's up 362,000. The bad news is it expires next year. And we'll talk about that later on my items. But with 83% of the fiscal year gone, we've received 98% of our forecasted revenue, and year-to-date revenue is $9,792,940. On the expenditure side, year-to-date expenditures are down. Related to the advances that were returned last year, expenditures are down because of the advances that went out last year as well, so they're correlated. Salaries and benefits, that we have a lot that are supplanted by ESSER funds this year, and our expenditures are at 83% of our forecast, and we are 83% into the year, so we're right on target for what we think our expenditures will be. And year to date, our expenditures are $7,382,000. At the end of April, we have 198 true cash days. Our cash balance is $4,802,134. Salaries and fringe benefits make up 81% of our expenditures, and we are spending 75% of our revenue year to date. Item I2 is to approve some salary schedules and benefits. I'm asking the board to approve the salary schedules for 22-23, 23-24, 24-25 for the school nurse and for the administrative salary schedule. Item I3 is agreements and purchases. A is a project that has been highly discussed and a lot of time spent on gathering this information, and a lot of discussion and work by the finance committee, but we are asking the board now to move forward with our HVAC controls retrofit by approving purchase from Sourcewell Cooperative for the supplies needed for this project for $147,990.79. Related to this project is to approve a 5-year maintenance agreement with Air Force One for $67,602 annually. We have an agreement with NOWECA for our service agreement for $23,625.52. Item D is to approve the property and casualty insurance renewal, $42,422, and the optional cyber coverage for $2,690 from the Ohio School Plan, which is Iowa Administrative Services. And then we have a few purchases that exceed the threshold for that require board approval. We'd like to hire Matt Tilley Enterprises to install the high jump and long jump at the new for the new included in the stadium improvement project. This is why we had the fence moved. As you walk in the main entrance there, that new fenced in area will be for the new high jump and long jump area. Purchase order for that will be $40,426.78. The boosters is pledged to reimburse us half of that. But for us, initially, it's going to be $40,426.78. We do expect, like I said, to get half of that back from the boosters. Christie would like to purchase $34,223.11 from IT Savvy for virtual host replacement. And then Christie would also like to purchase new equipment for the computer lab that would give it CAD availability. That purchase from IT Savvy is $46,569.25. It's my understanding that the equipment in the current high school computer lab is 10 plus years old. So it's being limped along quite a bit, and they don't have the capability to do computer aided design there. So that's why you see that. Item I4 is the 5-year forecast. Really nothing surprising there from the November, the 5-year forecast in May is considered the update to the November forecast. Again, the only thing that stands out there for me that's really different than before is It's, our salaries and benefits now include what we project from the collective bargaining agreement that was just ratified with GTA. And the other item of note that's still there is we need to address our income tax levy. That expires at the end of next calendar year. And our first opportunity to put that on the ballot will be this November. And so with that, I'm asking the board to approve the financial consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kratzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Questions or discussion? Just some things to note. A lot of these projects, this item I3's got a lot of money in it. But just to comment, a lot of those, we've been diligent and set money aside in kind of separate funds for IT improvements, also capital improvement type stuff. And as far as the HVAC controls, that's been an ongoing discussion for probably a year as to what direction we want to head. And I just want everybody to know that this isn't like stuff we're just getting hit with. We've already allocated funds for this. They're already in place and it's not extra money.
As the district has become more and more financially stable over the last 5.5 years, we have been able to, we created a building improvement fund as well as a technology improvement fund. And there's some pretty good cash balances in there. You'd see that on your cash summary report. And to Dave's point, we have not taken it lightly, but the buildings our brand new buildings are almost paid off, which means they're 20 years old. And so some of the systems are showing their age, and HVAC controls is one that you'd expect to need addressed at 20 years old. So, yeah, so most of this is not coming out of the general fund. Most of this is coming out of those funds that we've been able to create and set money aside so that we didn't see, $500,000 worth of expenditures all at once.
Feels good to be in
It
that
feels
spot.
good to just have it there.
Yes,
Right.
yes, for sure, for sure.
And we're able to do it when we want to do it instead of not under a panic situation.
Anything else? Roll call?
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0.
Item 2266 is for the board to approve the salary schedules for the central office staff. For the next 3 years, that would be 22-23, 23-24, 24-25 as presented in your packet.
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Mendoza,
Second it?
second by Mrs. Kratzer. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Abstain?
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Yes. Item passes 3-0 with 1 abstain.
Item 2267 is to approve the administrative salary schedule benefits as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kratzer,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Damschroeder,
Abstain?
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Item passes 3-0 with 1 abstain.
Item 2268 is for the board to approve a resolution declaring the necessity of raising $1,239,132 annually for school district purposes as presented. This is referred to as a resolution of necessity to start the process of putting the income tax levy on the ballot for this November.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Damschroeder,
Second?
second by Mrs. Kratzer. Questions or discussion?
This is just gonna, it's gonna be 5-year again.
This would be for a 5-year, 1% income tax. The number that's on there, the 1,239,000 is an estimate provided to us by, it's kind of weird how it works. It's provided to us by the Department of Taxation, and then we send this resolution to them to certify its accuracy. So I guess it cuts down on their time, but I think it is important to note that when they send those estimates out, they also give you the equivalent property tax millage, and we would need not over 9 mils of property tax if we didn't have, if we weren't going for income tax, we'd need a 9 mil property tax levy to generate the same amount of money.
Try to pass that one, Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
And this is, we currently have 1% and we are going after 1%. That's what this is putting in place.
So to be clear, we're not asking for an increase. We're asking for the same money, same 1%.
1%.
Okay. All right, there's nothing else, roll call?
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Danstruck.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Superintendent's agenda?
Item J, superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items J1 through J4. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of the consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requested any such items be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately. Item J1, personnel, approve a step advance to step 6 for Karen Roby, K-12, Director of Teaching and Learning Curriculum, K-5 Assistant Principal, beginning August 1st, 2022. Employed Tabitha Allison and Emily Cisco as co-preschool directors for the 22-23 school year at $6,000 each. Employed Thomas Pfeiffer as Federal Programs Coordinator for the 22-23 and 23-24 school years at $9,400 per year. Item D, accept the resignation of Courtney Geeson as an intervention specialist effective at the end of the 21-22 school year per her letter dated April 21st, 2022, and post a position as vacant effective April 25th, 2022. Item E, accept the resignation of Jacob Hyde as intern technician effective May 9th, 2022, per his letter dated May 9th, 2022, and post a position as vacant effective May 12th, 2022. Grant Lori Rywalski an additional 5.5 days as school psychologist consultant for the remainder of the 21-22 school year at $275 per day. Item G, terminate the purchase service agreement with Lori Rywalski as psych services effective at the end of the school year per her letter dated May 11th, 2022. Item H, employ Lori Rywalski as school psychologist on a 3-year, 130-day contract for the 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25 school years at step 3 on the administrative salary schedule. Item I would be employ the following supplemental personnel for the 22-23 school year as listed. Item J2 is to approve the Sandusky County Interagency Transition Agreement as presented. Item J3 is handbooks. Approve the middle school, high school handbook for the 22-23 school year as presented. School calendar is to approve the 22-23 school calendar as presented. And I did give you a copy. And this is a result of our negotiations with MTA to add the professional days with
G.
GTA. What did I
You
say?
forgot what school you were at.
Which one did I
You
do?
said
And
MTA.
Oh,
Margaret.
Margaretta was the same. Those are in red. So it's getting close to mid-July.
Close to retirement.
Getting close. But that is a result of our negotiations. And Emily wants to hand those out at loved ones to lunch and everything else, so we can, you'll also notice that the 1 hour delay on Mondays has been removed from the calendar. Item 22-69 is to approve the consent agenda items as listed.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Krautzer, second by Mr. Mendoza. Questions or discussion?
Yes, I have a couple. On the personnel J1, are those the same amounts as last year? They're going up? It's 6 on B and C.
Fees is the same.
Same, thank
Yeah,
you.
B is the same.
C's increase.
C is
an
a,
increase?
C is an increase.
Okay.
There's a pretty long explanation for that,
Okay.
but long story short, the requirements of the job have changed. A lot more extensive work required by ODE to secure these grants. Well worth the money considering this is an order to get over $300,000 of federal money.
And then I had a question on J3 on the handbooks. Page 12, it talks about the alternate learning classroom. Is that not essentially in-school suspension, more or less, just a different name?
Yeah.
Am I right there?
Yes.
Kind of scratching my head on it, they're being punished, or they're saying, help me out here, they're keeping them away from the students during the day, but they get their work. But then they get to go play football or do some other stuff. Why is that?
For in-school suspension, it does not impact after-school activities when they're out of school suspension. That's not a Gibsonburg district thing. That's just suspension guidelines.
Oh, okay, there's nothing we can,
That's why it's no longer called in-school suspension. I mean, I guess you can call it that. They encourage you to call it alternate learning center because it's not a change of placement. They're just being removed out of the classroom for the behavior. It does not impact the rest of their day.
I just thought it was odd that you're taking them away from the classroom, but then you're allowing them to participate afterwards. But if that's out of your
Yes,
hands,
that is not Gibsonburg
Okay.
specific.
All right.
Yes.
thank you very much.
Anything else? Roll call?
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes,
Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0.
Item K is non-action items, is to approve the second reading of the following policies as listed. Item D is to approve the first reading of policies 1439 and 4439 as presented, and those were sent to us by Viola last week. And it has to do with the, what I want to say, the Juneteenth, which I have understood that June 19th is the national holiday. Item L is non-consent agenda is to accept the resignation of John Common as treasurer effective July 31st, 2022, per his letter dated May 10th, 2022. And item B is to approve the rescheduling of the June regular board meeting to June, and I'll let John explain that.
We always do this for the end of the fiscal year. At Finance Committee, we thought it'd be best just to reschedule the entire regular meeting so that we don't have to meet twice that month. And I think the dates we threw out, Dave and Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, were the 28th, 29th. So we did one. I don't know.
Yeah, I would
I
say.
think we were leaning more towards the 28th, but
Which was what day? I can't remember.
that's a
Day of the-
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
So I'm gonna say that's probably a no.
Okay,
So what about Wednesday?
that's the 29th.
Are we talking just?
Is that golf night?
No, the 28th.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
So
forgot about this.
so the 29th works better. I mean, either one is fine.
It's my wedding
If you want-
anniversary, so it's okay. It saves me a dinner.
That's what you said last year. I think
know,
it's the
you
same day we
You
did.
guys do it on the 29th, but it's okay.
If you want
She's in Florida.
to do it in the morning, Tuesday's fine.
Yeah, does it have to
The
be?
afternoon is.
She's
Well,
in
it's hard for
Florida.
you, though.
Tracy's gonna celebrate it.
You're gonna- Could it be another time in the day rather than?
It could be
evening
whatever
or
time you
earlier?
you can.
I mean, if it would be okay.
I don't know.
Samantha, though, would be working.
Yeah.
So.
I would too.
Oh, that's right. I kept listening and forgot about you.
I gotta work too. How about Wednesday, the 29th?
What's the earliest?
Do you, I mean, you want to make it at 5 or 5:30, or is that, I know you tell me,
Either one's fine. You just wanna do it early.
5?
How about Five.
Five's good.
5 o'clock. On Wednesday, June 29th
Now you gotta buy.
at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So there will be no board meeting on June 20th. That is moved to the 29th.
And item 2270 is to approve the non-consent agenda items.
Motion by Mr. Mendoza,
Second.
second by Mr. Dan Schroeder. Questions or discussion?
Just want to tell you, it's been my absolute pleasure to work for you guys. It's been a great experience. I've learned a lot. I mean, it's bittersweet.
Wish you well.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Wish
John.
you well.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate everything you've done for us here, and best of luck in Waseon.
Yeah, we didn't get to where we are without your help and guidance.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's nothing else, roll call.
Mr. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Yes. Item passes 4-0. Item 22-71, approve adjournment. Motion by Mr. Damschroeder,
Second.
second by Mr. Mendoza. Questions or discussion? No? Roll call.
Mr. Damschroeder,
Yes.
Mrs. Kratzer,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Meeting adjourned at 6:13.
Heading to the concert.